Joining us now with a ground level perspective is Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, who is just returning from a border trip. Senator, welcome back to the show. I will say the Biden administration keeps pushing this narrative that they have a more humane border policy than Trump's. Watch this.
The president and I are absolutely committed to ensuring that our immigration system is orderly and humane.
I am immensely proud to lead the workforce, the men and women of DHS, in executing our responsibility to secure the border and execute a safe, orderly, and humane process.
It is a more humane system.
Is that what you saw?
No, not at all. Lindsay, I've been down at the border repeatedly as chairman of the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs. This was a top priority of certainly my chairmanship. Every time I go down the border, I learn something new. What I just cannot adequately convey to your viewers is how profoundly disturbing it is when you actually go down there. I mean, you hear the stats. It's been 3.7 million encounters since Biden took office. Last 4 months, we've been averaging over 7,400 encounters per day at the southern border. But it doesn't adequately talk about the human depredations of this massive illegal flow. You know, the open border policy is facilitating the multi-billion dollar, about $18.3 billion per year, business model of some of the most evil people on the planet, the sex trafficking, the human trafficking, the flow of deadly drugs. But we were down there Thursday night. We immediately encountered a small group of small children, a little 6-year-old and a little 7-year-old girl. They were unaccompanied. All they had was a little plastic packet with their birth certificate and a card with a phone number and address. That was their only connection to somebody they knew in the U.S. They lose that, they just lose touch to whoever they were trying to come into America to be rejoined with. But then we're also told at that exact same spot, I don't know how far in the past, a couple of weeks, 2 little girls about the same age were being treated by CBP after being brutally raped. Now, anybody that would take a look or talk about this open border policy being more humane simply does not know what they're talking about. You know, Senator Harris was on my committee. She heard testimony how people sell children for as little as $84. We heard testimony to create a family unit to exploit our asylum laws. How do you think young women pay off their human trafficking fee to the human traffickers? You know, $5,000 to $8,000. They don't have that amount of money, so they get employed in the sex trade. The involuntary servitude. Again, the flow of deadly drugs, 107,000 overdoses. There's nothing humane about this at all. It just makes me so angry to hear the Biden administration deny that they have a problem, say that they've got the border under control. It's completely out of control, and it's not humane at all.
It's so sad to hear these stories, especially the human trafficking stories about these young children, these young girls. You know, Biden, as you know, hasn't been down there to see it. He hasn't seen this himself. I know that you also spoke to some landowners while you were there. What concerns did they share with you?
Well, how about all the dead bodies they find on their ranches? You know, last year there were over 500 people found dead in the desert. And a lot of, you know, again, the desert, the sands blow. A lot of these people are covered up. They're on course for over 700 dead people in just Texas alone. You know, there's nothing humane. You know, the human traffickers will use rafts. They overfill the rafts. What they've learned to do if they get encountered by Customs and Border Patrol, they'll throw some of their human traffic over the edge so that Customs and Border Patrol have to save those lives so they can go on with their smuggling. Again, there's nothing humane about this whatsoever. So, you know, the local landowners, they can't live on ranches that have been in their families for generations because of the, you know, just the out of control flow of people, the crimes that are committed by some of these illegal immigrants as well. It's not the ranches. It's not what they grew up with in Texas.
Let me ask you this, because hearing these stories, I mean, every time I feel like a delegation of senators or members of the House go down there, it just makes your blood boil to hear these stories. What can be done? I mean, you are in the minority. Obviously, there's hope to get the House back for sure, potentially the Senate. What can be done to fix this under an administration that seems not to care?
Unfortunately, past Congresses have vested the executive, the president, with all kinds of authority when it comes to immigration, and he's misusing that authority. He's certainly not faithfully enforcing our laws. So about all we can really do is highlight this problem, try and get the public aware of it. But, except for Newsmax, a few other news outlets, the mainstream media is completely ignoring this. They covered up for President Biden as a candidate. Now they're covering up for him as a candidate. So, until we get control of government, the House, the Senate, and the presidency, we're not going to be able to control the border. And let's face it, when we had that power, we controlled the border. We'd pretty well shut down the flow of unaccompanied children, of family units exploiting our asylum laws at the tail end of the Trump administration. But as soon as Democrat presidential candidates started talking about ending deportations, offering free health care, single adult incursions increased. And then, of course, when Biden dismantled all the successful programs that had secured the border, now we have this massive flow. Again, President Obama said 2,000 people a day was a humanitarian crisis. Last 4 months, we've been averaging over 7,400 people per day being encountered. And that doesn't even count the known and unknown gotaways. This is a massive national security problem. People from over 150 countries are coming through our open border in the Southwest. So it's a national security crisis. It's a humanitarian crisis as well.
Thank you for shedding light on it. And I do hope that Republicans are able to do something once they get back majority of the House and, hopefully the Senate as well. I do want to switch gears with you before we go because you are currently investigating Hunter Biden. And according to some new reports, Hunter Biden's laptop shows that he met with his dad at least 30 times at the White House or at the vice president's residence. So usually this was just days after he returned from an overseas business trip, it shows. Biden said that he never talked to Hunter about his business dealings. These reports would suggest that's not true. Does this implicate Biden in any way?
Well, it certainly proves that President Biden has been lying through his teeth, both as a candidate as now as president of the United States. We'd pretty well conclusively proven that in our September 2020 report, Senator Grassley and I. We tried to warn Americans that this would be a president that would be significantly compromised by this vast web of foreign financial entanglements undertaken by Hunter Biden, but it sure looks like for the benefit of Joe Biden as well. So, with each new piece of evidence, and let's face it, the Hunter laptop is a treasure trove of growing evidence against Hunter as well as against President Biden. And unfortunately, the FBI's had this thing since December 2019. Where's the justice? Where's the prosecution? I mean, I certainly see there's evidence of crimes being committed there. But where's the investigation? We were offered that computer after we issued our report. We had to do our due diligence. So we asked the FBI, do you know anything about this? Could this be stolen goods? The FBI didn't tell us anything about it. They should have come clean then. They should be utilizing this to certainly investigate Hunter to the full extent of the law. Doesn't seem like they're really doing that either.
Unfortunate. Senator Ron Johnson, thanks for being with us this evening. Good to see you.
Have a good day.